Today I want to talk about Godforge and Void Hunters together. I want to compare them but also show how they stand out from one another. I'm going to give you my view on what are the positives and some constructive feedback on both games. So if you're ready, let's take a closer look. So I want to start off by saying that this is in no mean a bashing or highlighting of either game. This is my personal opinion about two games I played side by side that many people have talked about in various videos from other content creators, etc. that has also covered both games. And I want to start off by talking about the campaign story and also energy and how I feel about that. So we're going to start off with Void Hunters, where I feel the campaign is really good because you are actually breezing quite easily through it. You're going to get some rewards. You can free start, but you don't have to spend any energy on actually doing the campaign. And as long as you progress, you can always come back and you can free start. And they are very big variety on how you actually get the free stars, so that's a really big positive for me that you can actually get a lot of different requirements. That also means that you can't get all of them at once. And then you actually hit the big stumbling block with the prisoner, where you have to learn mechanics and you have an actual gear and a skill check. I really like that because you don't spend any energy, so you can keep trying every single time, and you just want to push content and you can go back and clear other content if you can get some stars here and there. And the game have the same progression with free stars unlocking rewards at the bottom. So I really like that in Void Hunters. They also have the hunting grounds where you spend your energy. The hunting grounds are nice because they are part of something unique, but they can also be really frustrating due to RNG. So hunting grounds and their energy, a little bit frustrated because it's quite limited what you can do during a day. But overall, I really enjoyed the campaign and the difficulty curve in Void Hunters because you are only faced with some skill and gear checks, but you aren't actually forced on brute forcing your way through. You have to learn mechanics. I really like that. As for Godforge, in their campaign story mode, works exactly the same. You get your free stars if you can get free stars on the bosses in each act. Goes from stage 1-1 to 110 and then 2-1 to 210. The stage 10 also always have some really nice rewards, and I like that, but I don't really like the fact that it is very repetitive, because it is 3 waves and then there's a boss, but other waves are just basically pushed through, and the requirements are all the same. Like 2 stars means do it under 20 turns, so you're basically checked how fast can you kill them with AoE or single target. I don't like that. It's a little bit repetitive, but the actual requirements is okay. Like 20 turns is something that you can do. And you have a bunch of energy that you spend in the campaign to farm gear and farm EXP. You can use it elsewhere as well. But that gets really repetitive. In Void Hunters, you have to play it, I feel, where in Godforge you more have to sim to get your gear. So I like the fact how much energy you have in Godforge, but the campaign can be a little bit tedious because you are suddenly faced with certain blocks due to the increase just increasing, and that means you can only unlock it through rather level checks instead of actually skill checks. That's how I feel. But also what kind of roster you have. So it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. I would say Godforge has an okay campaign story mode, where I would say Void Hunters have a little bit better one. Then we talk about the summoning systems, and I'm gonna be very blunt. I am not a fan of food system, so we're gonna start off with Godforge here. I don't like the fact that I have to do an extend summon, where I have so many different summoning mechanics, and one of them is only basically for food. It's really tedious, and it's not really rewarding when you get like 500 summoning stones, because the chances of getting something good are actually quite low. So I like the summoning portal in Godforge, but there's certain elements of the summoning that I don't like. Whereas in Void Hunters you have your free summoning portals. You have basically for the dark, corrupt types. Then you have one that is the very premium currency, and then you have the basic one. And as for the basic one, You can actually have a wish list. You can have for all 3 different summons. You don't have any food system. So all champions that you pull, you can actually use. The only food mechanic there is whether do you want to spend your duplicates that you pull on upgrading red stars or yellow stars on them, because that is what you use. So there's more consideration going into there. Again, Godforge, I don't hate the summoning system, but the fact that I can summon hundreds and hundreds of time and maybe not get something I need is a little bit disencouraging, also because there's not a skip all button. I would love a skip all, and again, not the biggest fan of a food system, but it is what it is. And let's talk gear, equipment, and shops. I want to start off with Godforge again, because here is where Godforge truly shines and is excellent for me. I like the fact that Godforge has the gear equipment mechanics. You can farm it everywhere. You can buy certain random ones in the store, the gold store, which I really, really like. The fact that you can actually go in and buy it, and you have your weapons that you can summon. You have your imprint system as well, and you can level up the weapons. You can get them with certain substats. It's just very pleasing and something that I really love theory crafting, because certain weapons are better for other characters and can make them truly shine. So weapons and imprints are truly great. Also the gear that you can farm from dungeons, from the campaign story. You have a lot of different sets. You have your basic one that are the 2 pieces, which you can then have 3 times. But then there's also other sets where there's a 2, 4, and 6 piece unique that you can get. Like you can get a 20% on an AoE stun. You have retaliation, you have tank, you have disruptor, you have healing. There's just so much gear chance to work with, and I really love that in Godforge. And it's something that, when you get that gear, that is where you get that feeling where that I don't feel I get in the summoning system. I get that with the gear, and it is something that is just super fun to play around with. And yeah, I could make many videos on just gear and equipment in Godforge. As for the gear and shops in Void Hunters, I would say their strongest point is actually their shop mechanics, because you have different shops. You have your premium one, then you have your gold one, your basic, your daily one that you can update. Then you have one for summoning. Like you get some summoning currency whenever you do a summon. You can buy some things there, like either a legendary token or the actual legendary dupe that you are after. They're pretty steep, but also for epics and for rares. You can buy EXP. It's a really nice system, but the gear is a little bit lackluster. Like you have attack, speed, health, defense, crit rate, crit damage, crit resistance. I really feel it's okay. Like there's some good ones, but I would love to have some 6 or 8, 4 or 6 piece set bonuses where you can actually gain something unique. So there's a benefit for maybe going 4 piece speed along with 2 piece attack damage, or what do you want to go with? I would love some more depth in the gear system there. So if I were to name a winner, but I don't really want to do that, I would say it is Godforge, but overall both have decent systems. I just prefer the one in Godforge more, because I can theory craft way more with the gear, and that's something that's really appealing to me. Speaking of something else that's really appealing to me are the visuals. We all have visuals that we really like. And we're going to start off with Void Hunters here. I really like Void Hunters when you are in the waves, when you are in the home screen, and also when you are in your actual hero roster overview. There's a lot of different things. I really like the visuals. It's overall very pleasing. There's a good amount of detail in the things going in, the damages or skills used in the battles. Overall, really high, really solid. The summoning as well. It's amazing in Void Hunters. But the actual thing is, it's equally amazing for me in Godforge. Now the UI on the home screen, they're gonna improve that. Remember, one is a beta, one is an alpha, and both aren't even complete, so don't be that harsh on the critics. But I really like Godforge visuals, because where I feel they really shine are in the dungeons where we can see the bosses and the way they are attacking and the intros. Then another thing that are the short cutscenes as well. They are really nice. But for me in Godforge, the best place for the visuals is in your hero roster, where you can see the backgrounds, you can see how they move, the design. It's really pleasing on the eyes for me. So I would say this is equally pleasing. It's just different parts of the game, and I think the UI will also actually be quite pleasing on the eyes when the game goes to early access. Maybe remember, Godforge will have another beta. They don't know when, so it's not announced anywhere. I know many people are speculating, but remember, nobody knows anything, so keep an eye out on official news, their sign-up letters, their Discord. It's the same with Void Hunters. Make sure you are in their Discord so you can get the news, because then you can just stay updated and you don't need to guess or speculate or when is it gonna come out. So that's something I would really say. But yeah, that was the visuals for me. And then I want to talk about the difficulty in the game. I like Void Hunters difficulty a lot. You have certain skill level checks, but you can be creative and actually find a way around them, like the challenges that you are often having. We are going to talk about that in just a moment. But like the weekly challenges where you can get your experience and your rewards, those kind of extra where you can test based on certain tags. Like one day might be a gold, another day might be EXP, so you can get some more bonuses. I really like the difficulty there, but it's also really frustrating. But you can keep playing. No loss of energy, no loss of attempt, except for a few different ones where you have like certain tags which are like the premium weekend ones. And they are annoying because you can get really bad RNG sometimes, and you only have 8 attempts per stage level, so it is what it is. But yeah, the difficulty in Void Hunters is quite good. It's very hard. You definitely have to sit and play and think about what you're playing. Even though there is an auto button, you actually have to make sure you are using your skills in the correct way. If you are just autoing it, then the game will just not get the right setup where you might kill a boss with clever gameplay. So I really like that difficulty, and it's very refreshing that you are actually forced to learn game mechanics. If we jump over to Godforge, then we also have a difficulty there, but I feel that is more jump and you are just certain blocked, like due to level. But the difficulty is quite good in the dungeons. I really like the dungeons where you have difficulty based on what types of dungeons you are going after, because that is very hero dependent. Like, what characters have you decided to invest into? It's really important to invest in the right ones that can cover multiple, or someone that is very specific for anyone, like Dagonat for Fat, where you have to remove the buffs. You could also go with Green Knight. So again, I like the difficulty in both games, but as for the actual overall campaign mechanics, I feel the curve is slightly sudden in Void Hunters. Like, you actually have certain roadblocks put in, where in Godforge you can kind of force your way through it. It's just to get the 1-star due to certain mechanics, or it's easier to swap around, which is not bad. Like, it's not a bashing of Godforge in that way. I actually like that you can get through some of the things easy because you want to unlock hires to farm the XP. So the game is actually very well designed based on what it wants to do. I just prefer a very hard difficulty where I don't have to sit and sim it. So again, but both have equal merits, so it just depends what kind of difficulty are you preferring. I've just spoke about dungeons, challenges, etc. And I want to start off with Godforge here because I love the fact that the dungeons are all available all the time. There's no weekend only or Monday and a rotation cycle, but you can go in and you can keep trying and you can farm them to get the gear that you want or the summoning stones that you can upgrade. So you're not worried about on a Tuesday you are pulling a character that you really wanted and you want to invest into it, but you cannot ascend it because the material stones that it needs are on a cooldown and it's only up Monday and Friday, and you don't have any stones yet, so you're just sitting there waiting. I really like the fact that it is available all the time. also like the fact that we have different gear dungeons. We have wheatstone as well and scrolls. I like the rift mechanics where you get rift keys. You can go in and you can farm some EXP, scrolls, etc. to level up your skills. I really enjoy that because you can really go ahead and say, okay, I just made someone else level 40 or level 50. Can I now beat it? Can I try the stage? Like, you can really sit and tinker with it. And then you can say, okay, this character is working really well in this dungeon. Let me go try a different dungeon. You can see a video on YouTube. You don't need to wait to go back and try it. You can say, oh, this person is doing that. What can I do? They are recommending this. What do I have of roster? Or this skill, what do I need to see in my own roster? And they have a good sorting system like that. So I really, really enjoy the way it works in Godforge with the dungeons. So that also means we're moving on to the hero roster and the leveling upgrade of skills, etc. And I would say it is extremely difficult in Void Hunters because you can go so very wrong so early if you are building wide. You have to build extremely super tall, and you have to make sure that you are picking the correct characters because there's no do-overs, there's no nothing. And if you pull a character, you're not going to get a copy, you're just going to get dupe. So you're stuck with the one that you have with the EXP investment. And I think those who play Void Hunters have all had characters at level 30 or level 40 where you're just sitting like, oh my god, I wasted 2 days of EXP on this character and I can't really make it work. So that's really punishing. Personally, I don't mind that because I like the game punishing me when it comes to those kind of things, but I doubt it's for everyone. So there is that. I do, however, like the dupe system mechanics, like you have 6 yellow and then you have the 6 red stars. That's basically what you have, and it is just based on the amount of copies you have, so that is quite nice. And the hero roster is also quite nice. There are a lot of different factions. They do a lot of faction squad when you build and talk abilities, so I really enjoyed that. If we jump over to Godforge and we talk about their hero roster and leveling upgrade, you want to build tall in the beginning. You want your main team that can clear different things, and then you can slowly build up and spread out. It's less punishing if you just stick to your main core team, and then you can slowly build out afterwards once you have that first level 60. So it's definitely easier to build up your entire team. It just takes longer time due to the farming, but in reality you can actually build level 60 characters way faster. You can also ascend them, but we have 2 different mechanics. Like we have the purple stars, but then we also have, if you pull dupes, you can awaken them and get other things. So I don't like that there are 2 systems. I would just prefer the one. Like say, okay, I awaken them, but also it is complex and a unique mechanic that you actually can both awaken them if you get the dupes, but then you can also unlock imprints. So that's really some situation where you go like, oh, should I unlock this as an imprint? You wouldn't, honestly, because you can get imprints from different places. But that is something that you could do. And then when it comes to leveling upgrade, it's definitely easier in Godforge, but it's also more tedious because you have to sit there and make the food and the energy, and you have to spend time farming all that energy and the summoning stones to then unlock them, and then you can go back into the upgrade. So there's a nice circle in Godforge. There's just certain parts in it where I feel it's kind of like a bump on the road. But overall, both have their very own different way to go about it, and I would say there's definitely pros and cons in both systems. So it's just basically depends on what you like. And then we come down to probably the final thing for me. You've noticed I haven't talked about PvP. That is because in the beta for Godforge we didn't have PvP, so I'm not going to talk about that. And there are certain things in the Void Hunters PvP that I would like to see improved upon. We're going to save that for a different day when it's fair to talk about it, when it is available in both games. So the last part is actually play versus sim, and I will say that in Godforge you are simming more than you are playing at certain stages. Like farming, you have to sim a lot to level up your teams. You can also sim certain stages in your dungeons, but it will be way easier and you can get more rewards and higher content. So I would say you're actually encouraged to play in the dungeons instead of just simming them, because you would have to probably go down a little bit due to the skills just being activated in a different order. Whereas in Void Hunters, you don't really do a lot of simming. You have to play a lot more, but it's also more punishing. So both games have it where you can really invest in a lot of time into the actual play mechanic. If you want to sit there, you want to play, you want to learn, say, okay, what do I actually do to progress my account the fastest? The main downside is in Godforge, you have to sim a lot because you need the XP to make your level 60 so you can progress. Where in Void Hunters, you actually have to spend a lot of time sitting and actually playing. Again, pros and cons depending on what people like. And that leads me to the overall verdict or review of both games. I like both games. Both have their pros, both have their cons. None of the games are finished already, so that means they can only get better when they're coming out. Godforge, we don't have an exact date. We know there will be a beta 2 here in 2026. There's no beta announced for Void Hunters, but maybe we can be lucky and have one in the end of 2026. And they have said that they are looking at a full release in 2027. And I want to say to both developers, testers, content creators, all viewers, we shouldn't encourage either company to push out their game before they are ready. They want to have a quality product that can compete in the market. So, in my opinion, they should take the time they need, make the content and their product the way they want to do it, and roll with it. Because all this comparing this or that against the other, again, this is a review, this is not a fight between them. I like both games. I will be playing both games. I will cover both games. I'll probably sink a lot of time into both games as well because they play differently. It's just what you prefer. So both of them have their own merits, they have their own cons, but overall both games are quite solid, and I will say it's quite nice to play them. And on the final note, those who know me for a long time know that I came from Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. If we are to say what game you are most inclined to, then I would say that is Void Hunters. That is the one that suits the most, where Godforge has a lot of mechanics that you can also find in other modern games. But I actually like the way Godforge does it because it feels way more free-to-play friendly when you're actually playing it, and I cannot understate how much that really matters. So again, I feel we have a developed team from both games that actually really want to do it, and I think you can enjoy both games, and you shouldn't be forced to choose between either or. I know I won't, but if you do, then I hope some of my review and going over some of the systems in both games can help you. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you all in future videos.